The Economic Community for West African States, ECOWAS, has adopted a single currency to be launched by 2020. The ECO was adopted in Abuja, Nigeria on Saturday at a meeting of the 50-member country regional bloc. Adoption of a single currency by the West African member states has been on the discussion table for 30 years. 8 of the 50-member countries use the CFA franc, which is pegged to the euro according to a fixed parity guaranteed by France, a former colonizer of the 8 countries. But analysts see this as a gamble risk. According to media reports, there was, quote, a real firm political will, end of quote, for the region to hastily achieve the single currency. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has handed over chairmanship of the organization to President of the Niger Republic, Muhammadu Issoufou.
What's good, folks? Check this hot shit out. I got some fly news in for y'all. I mean, I don't know how many of y'all are actually investors or, fully intend to actually visit the continent of Africa sometime soon, but I was planning on going at the end of the year. I think I got to push my plans back to 2020, and I'm with it. I'm definitely with it because I want to wait for this currency consolidation. Now it's a different ball game because we talking the West African states combining currencies. This makes trade, travel, exchange completely easy. You know what else it makes easy? Stock markets, investments, consolidation between countries, businesses, and corporations. I love it. So when I seen this earlier, it sparked my interest because I've been at this for years. I've been trying to get us to get there, to get them to get here, to get us to invest because I think we know each other. We are of the same origins. We might be separated, tribalized, Christianized, Muslimized, idealized, all of these things, right? Separated, tribal. We've always been this way. Millennia, right? Thousands of years. And so now we have something new. So I feel maybe I should read the article aloud. To make it kind of comprehensible about what's really going on here in Africa, West Africa, specifically some of the places that we were enslaved from. Okay, we talking Mali. Hold on, let me pull this picture up. I want to name all the relevant countries in this because I find it to be interesting that these particular countries are about this right now. YouTube for boom. ECOWAS region. Well, let me read the countries. Where's the countries? ECOWAS countries. God damn, I gotta blow this up, or can I? Okay. There we go. So let's talk about the countries that are in ECOWAS, or as it should be described. Hold on, let me get the full acronym. What is ECOWAS? The Economic Community of West African States. That is what ECOWAS stands for, the Economic Community of West African States. It is an economic group or community of African countries located in West Africa. There are 18 countries geographically located in West Africa, but only 15 out of these countries are members. So Cameroon is not a member. It's not a member. They should be, but they are divided between English and French, and they have their own individual stripes going on. I talked about that before, but we're gonna address what is economically valuable for the African descendants of slaves here in America. So let's talk about it. Since the community was founded on the 28th of May, 1975, when some of the countries in West Africa came together in Lagos, Nigeria, to sign the Treaty of Lagos. The union was formed to promote the economic integration across West Africa. The union also performed peacekeeping roles in West Africa. It carried out several peacekeeping interventions during a period of political instability and unrest in the member states in recent years. Right? Let's talk about this, folks. Currently, the union is made up of 15 member states. 5 of these 15 countries are English speaking, 8 are French speaking, and the remaining 2 Portuguese. Shows you what the colonizer has done to native language. But they've given a gift. And that gift is the language of currency. And that is always going to be the language spoken by all. Right? Portuguese speakers. The organization structure is headed to the chairman of the authority of heads of state and government, who is appointed by other heads of state. The chairman runs the affairs of the union for a period of 1 year. The current chairman is Far Esumina. I can't read the rest of that. Who is the current president of Togo? Below are ECOWAS countries, their capital and official languages. So let me breeze through these countries, and then I'm gonna read the article, and hopefully you wise listeners here, people of quality, of investment, of future understanding of how we can actually uplift, remove, and gain some kind of stance on the globe, because the country is weak, and trying to establish yourself in a weak country is really not beneficial. Why don't you establish yourself in the countries that are predominant, or at least feed the world, and still have enough resources to continue to feed the world? I don't think y'all seen the article that recently came out that said Africa alone can feed the globe. Yet we hear stories that Africans are hungry. Y'all don't even hear the story of the wall being built in Africa. But again, topic for another day. Let's talk about these countries. Number 1, Benin. 2, Burkina Faso. Number 3, Cape Verde. Shout out to Slapper Don. His children are actually half Cape Verdean. Cote d'Ivoire. That's French. Gambia. Ghana. Guinea-Bissau. Liberia. Mali. Nigeria. Sierra Leone. Senegal. And Togo. These are the countries that will be combining currencies in 2020. I think this is not just a power move for the continent, the African Union, and the different sectors of the African economy. I believe they all should begin to combine that currency. They should begin to form a United States of Africa, same as the European Union, because as a force, as a nation, and I'm talking only sub-Saharan, the Saharan Africa, I don't particularly appreciate at this current time. They have been infiltrated, influenced, and they are of Arab descent. That stems from the Umayyad Caliphate, which probably was the last one. You know them as the Moors and all these other things, whatever. Let's talk about this economic progression that was just passed. And I'm going to read the article straight from African News. I'm not going to read the CNN joint. We're going to talk about this from the African News because that's where it came from first. ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, has adopted a single currency named the ECO, which it plans to launch by 2020. ECO was adopted on Saturday in Abuja in a meeting of 15 member country regional blocs. Discussed for 30 years, the single currency between the 15 countries that makes up the ECOWAS, 8 of which use the CFA franc pegged to the euro according to a fixed parity guaranteed by France, former colonizer of the region. It seems as a gamble risked by many analysts, but would be a strong political symbol. They scared. The Western nations will be scared because all these countries with a backed currency would make that currency comparable to the euro and the American dollar. Whether the markets predicted as such or promoted as such is a different story or ballgame. But we'll deal with that when it comes, because we can, as a people here, invest in that currency there. I am invested in Nigerian currency currently. So this is where we stand. Let's talk about this. According to local media reports, there was a real firm political will for the region to hastily achieve this single currency. During the meeting in Abuja, President Muhammadu Buhari handed over chairmanship to the organization to the president of Niger Republic, Muhammad Das. I can't read half of these Muslim names, so I'm not going to try. During the closing ceremony of the 55th session of the Authority of Heads of States of the Government held at the State House Conference Central in Abuja, according to local media reports, the ECOWAS Prize for the Excellence was awarded posthumously to former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. Some of y'all don't remember him because Ban Ki-moon is actually in charge now, and y'all didn't care back then, and y'all don't care now. Dr. Amayo Aduwaba, renowned for her contributions towards curbing the spread of Ebola virus in Nigeria by placing the patient's Zero Patrick Sawyer, sounds like a white name, in quarantine despite pressure from the Liberian government for their contributions to the well-being of the region. There's not much more here said on the African news page, but listen, I urge anybody who catches on to this. I got a little bit of a Nigerian following over here, so shout out to y'all. I told y'all I'm giving away 3,600 Nero. So listen, holla at me before this shit turns into the eco, and I can't afford to give away this money because your money getting bigger than my money. Check this out. Listen, people of the diaspora, I'm talking to you in Australia, Europe, Asia Minor, Russia, North, South, Middle Eastern Africa, South America, Central America. I'm talking to you in America. The continent is binding and forming. African Union is beginning to get it together. There are gonna be influences and Western influences to destabilize and create conflict and confusion among you all. But listen, your leaders might be starting to get it. And I'm realizing that the leaders are starting to get it. I watch a lot of African news, and the rejection of some of these ideologies, the rejection of France, the acceptance of China scares me, but the rejection of a lot of these colonistic ideas and ideologies and interim leaders, that's going away. The young people of Africa are not tolerating this. Now, I've been following it on Twitter. I've been following it on Facebook. I've been following it on Instagram, and I've been following it here on YouTube. And I'm very, very proud, excited, and I can't wait for the future. My goal is to prepare my children for this future, that one day there will be an alliance, a means of economic value, a means of economic sharing, like the diaspora may one day wake up. And I know I need to prepare myself, others, my family for this. I hope anyone who hears this and it touches your ears, that you prepare yourself. You begin to look into investments in Mali, in Benin, in Nigeria. How can we create an economic standard and strength between us all? Now, some of you have been taking your blood tests and your me twos and whatever 1, 2, 3s, me 3. I don't give a whatever genetic test you're getting. Most of them are pointing to the same regions. West Africa. There's a few countries missing, but we can talk about them later or figure out how to get them incorporated. The point is, this is happening over there. While we talk about ADOS and reparations and compensation for what was done to us from that side and brought to us here and then put upon us here for 400 years, they themselves over there now getting it together, removing the colonized mind that they're inferior and can't handle their own business, and beginning to unify. And they're calling for us. Y'all not listening. Y'all don't hear it. Y'all don't see these videos and these excerpts. I do. While I have fun chastising and engaging in American conversation and the stupidity of our arguments and ideologies, I'm paying attention thoroughly to the global dynamic of the African diaspora. And I hope others get to grasp upon this news that is being spread today, because I believe it to be a positive for ADOS. I believe it to be a positive for not only ADOS, but any and all African descendants here on this side of the globe, flat earth, whatever you want to call it. It's coming a time to where either you're going to be up on it or left behind. And I can only advise you to a few things: how to get involved, how to get invested, and how to make contacts for long-term business strategies. I wish y'all the best. I hope that some of you actually take these words and research it for yourself. It's not me, it's you. It's us. It's what we can and cannot do. It's what we perceive ourselves to be as a nation, as a culture, as a people. So, again, I know these topics scare people when you mention Africa, diaspora, slavery, currency, and removing yourself from this position of inferiority. But it is what it is. So, again, hopefully some of you get the message. If you don't, I understand. Indoctrination is a hell of a drug. It is what we face here in our situation and problem. But thank y'all for even coming through, if anything, or listening. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you look this up for yourself, because I'm not dropping links. ECOWAS, ECOWAS. Google it. We got a lot to learn, folks. We got a lot of growing to do, a lot of progressing to do. I wish y'all all the best, and I hope y'all all progress. Till then, guess I'm gonna leave here with this knowledge and obtain it and retain it for myself, and find out ways to invest and be involved and be at the front of this wave of currency that will be created, and probably backed by gold, oil, and other items that the Western nations cannot deny.